my video. Hey, I think we're live. Let's see here. This is not leaning the right way. All right. Instagram, TikTok. We're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, we're everywhere. We are live. It's happening. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro. I am a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and today is the last day of 2021. It's a new year tomorrow. It's very exciting. So we're going to do our show. It's the last show of 2021. Who would have thought? Who? It wouldn't me. And I'm wearing a festive-ish shirt. Wait, can I? Because I'm not in uniform. What does my festive-ish shirt look like? This is straight out of the gift shop. I'm plugging the gift shop right now. Where's my button? Okay. I saw Big Jeff Fresh just jump in as I see. Here we go. My Toronto. Where can I lean? Toronto Police Service hoodie from the gift shop. They're a charity, by the way. They're supporting the museum at Toronto Police Headquarters, which is also a good thing to plug. If you've ever considered and had the interest to see about history, when it's open, when it's safe to do so, you should check out headquarters at 40 College Street, because there is the Toronto Police Museum. It's a great place. Kids have fun. My kids love it. Unfortunately, right now, I think it's closed, but when it opens, you should go. Maybe we should do a field trip there. Maybe we should live stream from there. Who knows? There's so many options. So good morning to everybody. I see Safe Driver popped in. Safe Driver, if you don't already follow him, you need to. He just hit 1,000 followers, and I think we might be able to get him in for a quick hello on the live, which is really cool. We've been wanting to have him on TikTok for quite some time, and now it's actually possible. So stay tuned for that. We'll go through a bunch of stuff. We're gonna chit chat about stuff and things. What can we talk about today? Q, how are you doing?
Testing my audios all around. Sorry.
Oh, it's
I'll be
okay.
back.
No, I didn't give you any fair notice. So Q is here. She's testing the audios, and she'll be back. Rocky's in the house. I saw that. Let me go through a quick scan of the chat. Now, normally I don't go into the chat, but I'm going to go into the chat right now. Let's see here. Rizwan says good morning. Vanessa with a good morning. Guttison says hi. Safe Driver says good morning. Amber Underglow illegal. That's in the Q&A. I'll get to that in a second. Guttison wants to know, if you bring a car from Denmark, would the modifications to it be illegal if it's only for 1 week? You need to check with it depends on what the modifications are. If it's unsafe for our roads, then you couldn't drive it here, regardless. If it's not safe for our roads. But generally, if you're visiting, you are okay as long as you're adhering to modification or adhering to the rules of your registered state. But you need to check with the MTO as to whether or not you can operate here when you're importing. And you need to let me know what the modifications are so I can actually answer you accurately, because right now I'm just making broad guesses. We've got here Sean Johnson says, good morning, Sean. Happy New Year. Remember, if you drink, don't drive tonight. Thank you very much. That's definitely one of the messages we want to bring home tonight for those that are celebrating ringing in the new year. Impaired driving, yeah, it's not good for so many reasons. So many reasons. We unfortunately see a lot of tragedy as a result of it, and we want everybody to have a wonderful New Year's. We want to have a safe and happy one, where no one gets hurt and families aren't destroyed, and bad things happen when you mix alcohol. In so many ways, so many bad things can happen. Some fun, but also some not so fun. Let's see here. Okay, going back in. So what is this about street parking? Okay, this asks about street parking. And let me go into the Q&A, because we've got Q&A stuff. And so here's the deal. I am here, and although I did just read through the chat very quickly, I am now in Q&A mode. I will not be able to maintain as things go bananas in chat, but we do have a magical group of moderators. They are volunteers, not police officers, who come in and help us on the live streams by making sure that no one's spamming. And, they have the dubious task of having to mute people if they are disruptive, and they will do it. They don't want to do it, so please don't do anything that would cause you to be bounced out of the room. That being said, we want everyone to have a good time. We want to get your questions answered, and if you want to have me answer them, please put it in the Q&A section of the of either TikTok or Instagram Live. If you are on any of the other platforms, feel free to throw a comment in, and it will show up, like Big Jeff Fresh's message that says, good morning, nice hoodie, or Bruce McNeil, who just asked a question, which I'll get to in just a second. Okay. So in terms of street parking regulations, do they differ today? There may be special allowances for street parking. I'll have to look that up. Aaron Urquhart is the ultimate source of parking information, whereas I focus on the HTA and driving and policing side of the house. Aaron is a media relations officer for the Parking Enforcement Unit. She can be found at TPS_Bikehart. I think I said that right. In any case, she is easy to find if you search Toronto Police under TikTok and on all the platforms. Hey, Sean Chen, I just saw you pop in with a hi from YouTube. So we'll get you that information. Hopefully over the course of our hour, we can cover parking as well. See if I can get her to pop in for a quick hello. I'll send her a message in a moment. So Q&A for me, chat room is going to be the moderators. Again, if you ask in chat, you're likely going to be answered by a moderator, not by me, unless I happen to catch it, and it's rare. But if you hit the Q&A, I'll definitely see it. Okay. So Bruce McNeil wants to know if I can post statistics for traffic tickets, how many speeding, distracted, stop signs, etc., issued by TPS officers to compare with other cities. So we don't track other cities' stats, so I couldn't tell you that. Most of our stats should be available on our website in the portal. At very least, a lot of the stats are for public consumption there if you go onto our website. But I'll see what I can do. It won't be for today, but it's something we can talk about maybe in the new year, which is tomorrow. So at least starting tomorrow. Okay, here we go. First question of the morning. Very exciting. And this is the first question of the last episode of the year. I don't know. How special is that? Okay. Is going through a yellow light illegal? I got a ticket. Well, obviously you got a ticket because it is illegal. Yellow means stop. It doesn't mean go faster to get through. It means stop, unless it's unsafe to do so. So if it was very icy, if there was issues where you might have had a justification for not stopping, it may be okay to continue through. If you were approaching the light and you were past that point of no return, where you were close to the, a few feet before the white line, the stop bar, and it turned yellow, that would be reasonable to go through an amber light. But if you had more than enough time to reasonably come to a stop and you chose not to, that would be running a yellow light, which has the same consequences of running a red light. Things many people don't know but should. Okay, let's see what's next on the list. When you scan plates, what do you see? Well, when I run a plate, I can see the information about the registered owner. I can see information as to whether or not the plate is valid, if it's connected to anything, if it's wanted. It's a basic search, and that's where an investigation starts. And there's different places to search things. But a standard search will tell me who owns it, if it's valid, and if there's any concerns. So that's to answer that question. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Can police officers have lights on off-duty cars? On off-duty cars. That makes more sense. A hyphen somewhere. Off-duty vehicles. My personal vehicle does not have lights and sirens. Now, there are specific jobs within the service that have officers with take-home cars. They're senior officers. They may have to take a car home because they're always on duty or they're on call. And there are certain situations when they may be using a plainclothes car, but it's not their car. It's a service car. Personal cars do not have lights and sirens. Good blessed Friday morning, everyone. Coming from our friend Neon, one of our moderators. Let's see here. What are your thoughts? I don't know what that is. H2O, like water? I like water. If it's an acronym for something else, I don't know what you're talking about. But H2O, I like water. Can I have LED lights under my car, not like cops? You're just talking about underglow or whatnot. I really need to load those. The new year, we're going to have sound effects for everything. So the deal with this, there's no specific law about underglow. However, the use of underglow may contravene other laws, like if you're projecting light forward, back, or to the sides, as opposed to simply straight down. So your bulbs shouldn't be visible, and you should stay away from lights in the color of blue, red, green, anything that may be regulated or confused with police or emergency services.
Are they talking about H2O2?
I don't know what that is. I don't know. They didn't have a second. They just said H2O. What's H2O2?
Hydrogen peroxide car?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to assume that they were talking about water, agua, the good stuff that I'm drinking right here. Okay. For anybody who's new to the room, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable from the Toronto Police Service, working out of the Traffic Services Unit. I'm a social media officer. I'm a media relations officer, and it's Friday. It's not only Friday, it's New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve day, the last day of the year. Very excited. We're doing our last show of 2021. And if you have questions about traffic or policing, feel free to ask them here. I'm sporting my Toronto Police Service hoodie for this special episode, And
We can't see the S.
You can't see the S? Hang on. I can drive this car. Where's my mouse? My mouse is on vacation.
Just move to the left.
No. I have to press buttons. There we go. Oh, here. No.
Oh, no, we can't see it on TikTok. There we go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm looking at 3 different camera views. So there you go. I love this thing. It's comfy. It's warm. It's my cozy thing that I like to hang out in. And it's a cozy day today. Okay, let's get back into the swing of things. 637 people in the room. People have jumped in. Belgium. Hello from Belgium. I just saw that pop through on the chat. That's very cool. I've been to Belgium. I had a lot of fun there. It's also, as I completely get off topic, but asking for vinegar on French fries, I used to add vinegar to my fries, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy when I asked for vinegar. They're like, do you want to clean the floor? Why do you want vinegar? Anyway. Can I have a modified exhaust? Yes, you can. However, it has to meet regulations. You can't have a modified exhaust like removing your muffler. You have to have a muffler. You have to have a resonator. It still has to be legal, still has to meet the requirements, but it could be a more free-breathing one, again, as long as it passes the rules. GM, can I apply for G1 with my what? Good morning. That's what the GM is. I'm like, it threw me for a loop. Acronyms everywhere. Can I apply for a G1 with my old name passport? You're going to need to check with the ministry. They have drive test centers actually have an FAQ that talk about all the rules and regs as to what they require for you to apply. So I don't know what their requirements are. You say old name. I would assume you need something with your current name, but that's me making an assumption. You can certainly contact them and get the final answer. Okay, under 12 people in the front passenger seat. I'm assuming you mean 12 years of age and not 12 people in the front seat. But the rules are this. You can be in any seat position as long as you are not in a child restraint. So to be out of a child restraint, legally, you have to be 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" as a minimum, one of those 3. But just because you qualify to be out of a car seat doesn't mean it's the safest place for you to be. You may actually be better off in a car seat for a lot longer based on how you fit the seat. This is a 5-point test that you can do. Does your back sit flush? And when your back is flush against the back seat, do your knees bend beyond that of the base portion of the seat, or are your legs sticking out straight? A bunch of different things. But beyond that, even if you're legal, is it safe to be in the front seat? Well, the professionals in the industry say no. They say that you should be in the backseat until you are at least 14 years old. Now, don't go bananas. It's not a legal requirement. It's a suggestion. It's the one that suggests you should be as far away from that airbag if it deploys or if there's a front-end collision as possible, because we want you to live through it. We want you to be safe. But it's not cool, but it is safe. Okay, moving on. Hope it answers your question, by the way. Q put up the TorontoPoliceGiftShop.ca. That's the link if you want to buy merch like this from the Toronto Police Service and support the gift shop charity that supports the museum. Thanks for throwing that up there. Don't throw up there.
I don't want to throw up. You ready to drink? Okay, here's
One
a
step
question.
ahead of you.
Okay, here's a question from chat. Can a cop ask for my driver's license if I haven't broken a traffic law?
So, if you are operating a motor vehicle in Ontario, you are obligated to provide your driver's license, your ownership, and insurance upon demand of a police officer, regardless of whether or not you have broken a law or believe that you have broken a law. It is to be able to confirm the status of your license, the status of your insurance, and the level of, or to make sure that you are sober, check your sobriety. That's a requirement regardless of whether or not you've done anything wrong. People don't like to be able to be stopped for that, but it is a legitimate reason to stop someone. Now, if you've done something, you may not be aware of what you've done, and we're not going to tell you necessarily right off the bat why we're stopping you, but we're allowed to stop you for those reasons, and we can do that. Just getting a message from conveyed through the chat, thanks to Q, just saying that you are wishing me a very happy new year, and thanks for educating everybody on TikTok and through the streams. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the feedback, and thank you very much for the warm wishes for the Happy New Year. I am really looking looking forward to next year. All of, hours away. This has been a great year, and I look forward to more of the same and new things, because we're going to keep doing exciting new things. That's just the plan. Okay. Blue UA9 says H2O is the thing where you can take cars over Wasaga Beach. So is that a car meet? Is that the story? I don't have any information about it, so I can't give you an opinion because I'm really not aware of it. Wasaga is well outside of my my area of focus, but I know there was a big car meet or something that happened a while back. I do remember seeing articles about that. Okay. Can I have underglow? I don't know. Can you? Underglow. May you? Can you? I don't know. My teachers usually, can I use the bathroom? Anyway, okay. The deal is that underglow, and we just spoke about it a few minutes ago, so I won't go too deep into it. You can always watch this on replay on YouTube, which is another thing. You can follow us on YouTube. We almost have 1,000 followers there, where all of our live episodes, save and except for the ones I recorded at home, are available for replay. So if you do want to watch this again and again and again, you can do that. Go to our YouTube channel, Traffic Services Toronto Police. You can also watch this on TikTok. Not TikTok. Twitter, Facebook. These are all live broadcasted and saved for your review at your leisure. Underglow, not illegal. However, if it's not installed correctly or using a restricted color, you may be contravening other laws. You might end up with a ticket. If I have auto steer on, do I need my hands? So auto steer, it really depends on what you're talking about. So you're talking about a Tesla. Tesla, you don't require your hands on the wheel at all times. It's driving, but when you're in autopilot mode. But it does ask you to confirm that you're there on a regular basis, and you have to do that. Otherwise, auto mode will be disabled. So generally speaking, if your vehicle isn't enabled, if it's not on, we're looking for people to have their hands on their wheel. Okay. Steph Ambassador, hey, what's going on, fam? Says, Happy New Year, family. Happy New Year to you too. Long time no talk. We got here. Undead Neon wants to know about tint laws. Tint laws, our favorite. Oh, I got to use this sign. Let's use this. It's the closest thing to a tint law audio file I have got set up right now. We'll have better ones for next year. So the deal with tint laws is that you may have a certain level of tint to meet safety requirements to get your safety certificate. So you can have the rear windows, the windows to the rear passengers and beyond to the rear. They're not regulated. You can go as dark as you want. The windows directly left and right of the driver must have no more than 30% light blockage. That's very different it's very different than that of having a 30% light through, right? So some manufacturers talk about, sorry for knocking the mic, talk about how much light it lets through. We're talking about how much light is being blocked. So no more than 30% light blockage, means 70% light getting through. And for the front windows, nothing. You can have nothing on the windshield, save and except for vehicles manufactured before 2017. So it's 2016 or older. They can have a 3-inch strip across the top, a sun strip, that is no more than 3 inches high, or it's the PS1 line, whatever happens first. So that's the answer on tint. But there's more. See, if you add tint, even to that point, and it's dark outside, and nobody can see inside your vehicle to the point where we cannot see if there's a driver, you can still be issued a ticket under the HTA that says you're obscuring the interior of your vehicle by way of coating or reflective coating, color or reflective coating. So also you cannot have reflective tint. That's the deal. You got to be able to see inside your vehicle. Well, why? Why must we be able to see inside the vehicle? It's always an interesting conversation when we talk about that. And it's because we have to be able to identify a driver and see what's going on. If the vehicle is involved in crime, if you're using your cell phone, you can't make it so private that you can just do whatever you want in your vehicle. It's just not it's not a right. In fact, it's specifically not permitted. Okay, moving along.
But you're only doing that just so that you could fit quota and commission.
Oh, thanks for mentioning that. The quota and commission. Wouldn't it be great if we did that? It would certainly motivate a lot more, but there is no quota. And there's certainly no commission. I'd have a bigger house. The deal is that we write tickets to change behavior. If you don't break rules, we don't write tickets. It's simple as that. If we write you a ticket, it's to give you the uncomfortable memory of what happened when you did something wrong, hoping that you'll never do it again. And that's it. Why do we need to have tinted window tickets? Well, it's because we need to be able to see it. Why? Because when we have an issue where bad things happen, something happened to create a law. Look at stunt driving on private property. Everyone's up in arms, upset that you can't do donuts on your driveway anymore. Not legally. Well, why did that happen? Well, you can thank the TO takeover people or people of that of the like who decided to go and have criminal behavior meetups where they did burnouts and donuts in city streets and then took that party to the private property and caused all sorts of difficulty there. So the government and the lawmakers decided to do something to prevent that. And that's what happened. So laws were changed based on specific activities that were dangerous. And there you go. TPS Recruiting just popped up a message here on Instagram Live. They said, looking forward to a future TPS career fair where we're all hoping you will participate. It says here, I think your followers would love to learn more about being a traffic officer, hiring now. They are hiring now, and you are taking applications. If you go to www.torontopolice.on.ca.
I threw it on the QA.
Thank you. Let me refresh the QA, and I'll put it up on the TikTok. Let me see here. You have another set? Here, I'll plug these in. Got one moment. Plugging in so that our in-studio audience. So Sergeant Kulik and Sergeant, let's see if this wire's plugged in.
Are they
Sergeant
here?
Campbell, they're in earshot. They can hear. Now they're actually wired in. Okay, good. So www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. That is the place to go to see what jobs are currently posted, to be able to get the information you need to know about becoming a member, what's required in order to apply, and of course to actually create an application and submit it. So all of that and more. Also the information to get in touch with a recruiting officer from talent acquisition. This is the people that you need to speak to get your questions answered specifically about jobs. And you know what? It's a great job. Okay, we got RCX Sports says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Thanks very much for the message. What does it say here? Why are Canadian police chase non-existent? I wouldn't say it's non-existent. There are police chases. We don't televise them, and certainly we aren't looking to get into them because public safety is priority. Can I drive with no hood in Texas? Well, I don't know about Texas law, but driving with no hood's a problem here. That's part of keeping pedestrians that, if there should be a collision, keeping people out of that engine compartment is safer than having them caught in your engine compartment. And it's one of the reasons it's part of your safety equipment. At least that's what I have been told, that a hood and bumper and all those things are kind of important. Depends on the class of vehicle. So things may change depending on what you're driving. But based on everything I've been told, hoods are required equipment. People start talking about doors and Jeeps, and can all vehicles, we talked about doors on a Jeep. That's legal. They were designed to be without them. But what about vehicles like your Mercedes? Could you pop your doors off and drive around? I don't know. It calls the question whether or not that's part of safety equipment or not. I don't know.
If it affects the structural integrity of the vehicle,
Right.
it certainly would be an unsafe vehicle. But if it doesn't,
So it depends if the vehicle's designed. I think that's what I rely on. I think
We
the vehicle
can't
is
really
designed
hear
to be
him.
without it. You don't. Oh, I got to turn it. Well, you don't have his microphone's not on. Now the microphone's on. We can now hear Sergeant Campbell.
I think if it affects the structural integrity of the vehicle, then it would be an unsafe. We have convertibles that have no top on it,
But they're designed differently.
but they're designed that way, and the structural integrity of the vehicle is not compromised by not having it. So if you take your doors off in a Jeep that are designed to have it off, and it still passes the safety requirements in Canada.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
There's a question: can you be a Toronto Police, a TP police officer, a toilet paper police, a Toronto Police officer if you are colorblind? You cannot be a police officer if you're colorblind. It's one of the requirements under the vision requirements. You have to have, I think it's 20/40 binocular, uncorrected. There's a bunch of vision requirements. You can check that out on the website. But colorblind is also one of them. But there are still opportunities within the Toronto Police Service, even if you're colorblind. You can be a parking enforcement officer. You can be a court officer. You can be. I don't know if a special constable requires a color vision or not. But again, all those answers and more if you go to www.torontopolice.on.ca. Okay.
And it's a shame, though, Sean, but we're required to give evidence in court.
Yes.
And we have to come in and retell a story to the court and able to convict somebody. So if we're not able to come in and say a color or give, tell that proper story with all the detail that we need to prove a case, that is the reason why colorblindness is one of the ones that
Absolutely.
that we need.
Absolutely. Here's a good question. Can you refuse a breathalyzer at a spot check? No, you can't. If a demand is made and you refuse, and you be charged criminally for refuse to provide breath sample on demand, and that has the same consequences as if you had failed the test that you provided a sample for. So absolutely, you are required by law to provide that breath sample on demand. Decibel rating of exhausts in Ontario. So for a motor vehicle being tested by a mechanic for safety, it requires 74 decibels at idle, I believe. But that's not what you're going to get charged with if you're on the road. That's for a safety, or for the requirements for a mechanic for issuing a safety. Now, when you start talking about what are we going to charge you with if you're making unnecessary noise? Well, you're going to be charged with unnecessary noise. What does that mean? It means you're making noise that's unnecessary. You could have a stock exhaust system, but you're choosing to redline it, at 30 kilometers an hour, and make noise that is unnecessary. So it's somewhat subjective. We obviously would have to articulate why we laid that charge, but it's not based on a decibel rating. We wouldn't be monitoring, recording, or measuring your decibels in order to lay that charge. It could also be your horn, your stereo, anything, even squealing your tires. The noise from your tires can be the unnecessary noise. Okay. And since it's been a while since we've said hello to everyone watching, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable at the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I work for traffic safety. No, I work for traffic services. And in traffic services, a unit, which is my unit, the Traffic Safety Programs Unit, myself and Sergeant Kulik and Sergeant Campbell. We are in this office area. We are media relations officers. We deal with everybody, answering questions and the like. So that's what we do. That's what we're here for. If you've got questions, we've got answers. Feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. It will be answered live. Right now, we're here till 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is when we will wrap it up for the last show of 2021. And on the microphone beside me is, or a little ways off because we've got a long cable, is Sergeant Murray Campbell. He is a media relations officer. He's also the pound sergeant. Is that the appropriate pound sergeant? So if you've got questions about vehicles that are impounded, he's got answers about that. You got a pro. He's a traffic officer, and he is very knowledgeable. So, and that's not to discount Sergeant Kulik, who's also here, but not as close to the microphone. And Sergeant Kulik has experience in the Marine unit, which is where you were before you came here, right? Before you came to traffic.
Correct, yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yes. So we have a large variety of specialties, but of course Sergeant Kulik is also a traffic supervisor. So lots of different stuff and sources of information today. If you've got stuff that we don't normally talk about, throw it out here, and maybe we'll get it. And I just saw that Emma said Dory, but we already covered Dory. Dory's now an inside thing. I don't even think we have to explain Dory.
Sorry.
Tints on taillights and headlights. What's the deal? Well, the deal is that there's a requirement for how much power and how visible. It's actually, the HTA says that you have to be discernible at a certain distance, and I believe it's 150 meters. So if you tint or prevent your headlights or taillights being functional at that distance, you are eligible for a ticket. Now, anything you do to make your lighting system less effective, that may lead to a collision, it's going to be one of those clues we mark off or make note of when we're doing a collision investigation. So while some people say, well, if I'm rear-ended, I'm obviously not at fault, it's the person who hit me. Well, that's not always the case, and there's a sliding scale when it comes to insurance companies who evaluate collisions. We can say that it's the person who hit you, and they may say, well, we're going to slide some fault over to the person who has taillights that are tinted because they were less visible. In any case, there's also a rule about projecting light. And if you're projecting light other than that of white or yellow or amber to the front, you are breaking the law.
John, there actually is an offense for driving with your headlamp coated with anything.
Anything?
Anything at all. So it's a $110 fine, and if you're doing it on a commercial motor vehicle, it's a $240 fine.
There you have it. An additional charge, and so you can't tint or coat in any color for headlight.
Or cover it in any way.
Oh, wow, okay.
Under the same section, but a different wording for the fines is drive with headlamp covered. And those are the ones, you see people that put the dark black covering on it and just have a small round opening, kind of making it look like the projector style headlights. So modifying it to make it less effective. And quite honestly, I don't understand why people would tint their tail lights. Wouldn't you want people to see your brake lights coming on and not run into the back of you?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me as to why you'd want to have be seen. But looking cool, I don't know. There's some value there, maybe.
I don't know. You don't look very cool as you're sitting at the side of the highway with a car parked in your trunk.
Here's a question that's coming through from chat, and it's for TPS recruiting. So it's coming through from TikTok, and now we're throwing the ball over to TPS recruiting. Is TPS currently accepting applications for lateral transfers? I don't know, but they do. So if we don't have an answer, because I don't know if they're currently watching live or if they just popped in for a second, definitely look into it and be in contact with their recruiting office. They're working right now, so you can call in and get connected with a recruiter who'll be able to help you out. But we may get an answer in a moment, and if we do, I will pass it on to you. Let's see here. Devanch29 on Instagram says, can you get a ticket for expired license plate tags even if you ordered renewed ones? You said tags, which makes me think you might be outside of Ontario, because that's not usually what we refer to them as. But if you're in Ontario, I'll tell you what the deal is. There has been an extension in place through all of COVID. Basically, from March 2020 onward, if your license plate expired, that you were covered under an extension, that expires February 28th of next year, so 2 months away, and you can renew right now, but you have until the 28th officially. What's the deal if we see that it's being, so let's pretend that we've gone past the renewal, you've ordered it, but you haven't received it. We can see in the system if you've renewed it. So chances are, if you've done everything you can to renew it, we will see that, and keeping your receipt with you makes life a lot easier, of course. And I can forward that. Okay, no response yet from recruiting, so definitely for the lateral transfer question, I'd suggest giving a call, and they'll be happy to help you out. Okay. Age limit for not using a helmet on a bike. 18 years old is when you can choose to put your brain at risk in the event of a cycling collision, or fall for that matter, which I guess is still collision. The deal is that you are required by law to wear a helmet on a bicycle if you are under the age of 18, and if you are under the age of 16, your parent or guardian is the one who's going to get the ticket. If you're 16, if you're 7, oh, I'm not, 16 or 17, you get the ticket. And you know what? There's no good reason to ride a bicycle without a helmet. The level of injury that can be caused by a simple fall, you hit a rock, you hit the ground, your life can change in an instant and forever. So wear a helmet.
Can we touch back on stickers?
Stickers. What would you like to know about stickers?
What happens if we skipped years?
What happens if you skipped years? So let's say you had 2 years of no sticker because of COVID. You go in to renew, and what happens next? Well, they're going to charge you for the last 2 years and the next year. So you're going to be paying for 3 years in one shot. There's no discount. There's no benefit. There's no reason for anyone to have not renewed. Now it just means you're going to be waiting in a bigger line if you are now waiting. But you can go online and renew online, and you should do that because get it out of the way. Hope that answers the question. We have here a question about, I left the bar and I was followed by police. I got that question from the same person on both Instagram and on TikTok. Amazing. They followed me for 15 minutes after leaving. Is it illegal to follow you? There's not enough information to know what you're talking about. You were driving around? Were they trying to figure out if you were impaired? I don't know what they were following you for. Maybe they were just going in the same direction. In any case, it's not illegal to drive in the same direction, but I don't know what the story is. I don't know what they were looking at, but certainly they can investigate you. Okay. When you do paperwork, is that a TPS report? I don't know if anyone has seen the movie. What's it called? Workspace. I can't remember the name of the movie. Red Stapler. What is that called? Office Space. Oh, it's a fantastic movie that I can't remember the name of properly. In any case, not a firefighter. Yes, that is a TPS report.
Hoverboards, are they legal?
Hoverboards are not legal. They're toys, but they're not allowed to be on the sidewalk or the road, or their use is restricted. Hoverboards, you have those one wheels. You have all sorts of electric skateboards. Those are all not legal for use in Toronto. Certainly not on the road and not on the sidewalk. Okay. Offense categories covering aggressive driving. What is aggressive driving? There's so many things that can be classified under that umbrella. It could be, lane changes, rapid acceleration. What would you call? What other things would you cover?
Are you talking stunt driving in particular, or just
No, just aggressive.
in general?
Yeah, aggressive is just anything that's aggressive. But
anything.
it's so many.
Tailgating,
Yeah.
driving too fast, cutting people off.
There's a ton of different things
Ton
that,
of
that
things.
fall under that sort of broad category. But it's things that are dangerous. And if it's dangerous and not passive and not slow, there's things that you can do. Speeding is clear cut. We know it's speeding. Stunt driving, clear cut. You get into distracted driving. We know exactly what those are. But it's not a catch-all. But there's a large number of things. And to me, they're pretty obvious, but none of them come to mind when I say it.
And you know what? That's just a category of what we group it into. That's not the offense.
Right.
Aggressive driving is not an offense, but the subcategories that all aggressive driving falls into, they're all separate offenses.
Could turn into careless driving. Could turn into
But
a variety of offenses.
I'm assuming they're just talking about what would you classify, and I'm always it's always tough for me. Like if you ask me what is this, well, I would say it's aggressive driving. But if you ask me to make a laundry list of all things that are categories, it's too long a list, and I can't think of what I put on there right now. Let's see. Do you need to declare modifications done to a car for insurance? Yes, yes, and I'll tell you why. Not because it's a requirement under the HTA. HTA, you have to report to the ministry changes of color, descriptions of vehicle. But when you get into insurance stuff, if you make major modifications to performance or displacement or anything, if you don't tell them, they may not replace the damaged vehicle at the new value if it did change it. But if it's performance stuff, they may deny it altogether. There were a number of cases that hit the media where someone had changed their exhaust system, and because it had changed the performance or valuation, the insurance company said no. Now later it was reversed, but every situation is going to be different. So definitely you want to be declaring. Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to add or not. I was waiting. Okay, is it illegal to have a PA speaker on your vehicle? So I back in the 90s, I had a PA on my CB radio, and I hit a button and I could speak at the front of my. It's great for parking lots and having fun. Not really something that has a real use for when you're driving. So if you're driving around and you're playing music at your PA, that's probably going to fall into the category of unnecessary noise. So it's not necessarily illegal to have a PA, but using it and making noise, that's a problem. What is this? Someone in chat is adamant about what it means to be detained. You want to explain the concept of detention?
Well, you know what? You can be detained without being arrested as the police are investigating something. You have an obligation, even for traffic stuff, you have an obligation to comply with certain things. You must give proper identification. And you can be detained for that purpose, and you have to remain there until your identity can be properly determined. If there's other legislative requirements that you have to do, like a breathalyzer or something like that, a breathalyzer examination, like a roadside screening device examination, is a form of detain. You're not under arrest. You haven't been, there's not reasonable probable grounds to believe you've committed an offense, but you are required to remain and provide a sample of your breath so that determination can be made.
So essentially you are required to stay. You do not have the right to leave. You are under detention for that moment. But it's before the point where you are under arrest.
Right. So I guess it's a subcategory of arrest.
There you go. I hope that answers the question, or because I don't know exactly when they say they're adamant about what it means to be detained, what they're getting at, but hopefully that explanation helps them. Can you get a ticket for a lowered car? Yes, but it depends on what that lowered car, what about it? So was it unsafe because it was lowered? Generally, there's no ticket for just being low. It's for being unsafe. So if you are beyond the 1.5 inches, or if there's any body rub, if there's dramatic difference to the camber of your wheels or tires, contact patch, because you have lowered the suspension to the point where the wheel is no longer making contact with the road properly, all of those things after an evaluation may result in your vehicle being determined to be or classified as unsafe. You might lose your license plates and have to get towed. But it really depends. U-turn guidelines and laws. U-turns are generally legal unless signed otherwise. if it's safe to do so. So in a situation where you have a sign, for 150 meters after that sign, you can't make a U-turn because the sign said so. If you're approaching a bridge, viaduct, railway crossing, what else? There's a bunch of other things. Those things are crest of grade, curve where there's no visibility. Those things, those places are all unsafe, and you cannot do U-turns. But generally speaking, if it's safe to do so and it's not signed otherwise, they are legal. But you are responsible for anything that happens during it. So if you make the turn and now you're in a collision, well, it wasn't safe, thus you're going to be responsible. Can I drive with drag tires on road? Well, there are tires that are not designed to be used on the road. Drag tires are generally classified as track tires, and those are not safe. Slicks are not meant for rain. They're not meant for the road, and those are improper for road use.
And there is a minimum tread depth that you have to have on the roadway.
Right. So your tires, even if they were once street tires, but you burnt them out because you were doing something you probably shouldn't have, or just age and use. If they're beyond the tread measure, there's wear bars that are good indicators. But if they do not meet the requirements to be on the road, they're improper, and you can get a ticket for that. Smoking in a car with a minor. You are not allowed to consume or smoke any tobacco or other products in a vehicle with someone under the age of 16. The driver or the person will be charged under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. Okay. What is the lumens limit under the HTA? I think it's 800. I don't know why 800 stands out at me. You can have
maximum lumens you're talking about?
Maximum, because minimum, or anything over 300 lumens for forward-facing lights is a headlight. You can have a maximum of 4 lights to the front that are over 300 lumens. But I don't. It's either 800 or 1,000. There's 2 numbers that pop out at me. We're gonna see if we can find it for you. But yeah. Are aftermarket car parts illegal? I need to know. Parts in and themselves are not necessarily illegal. Depends on what they are, like cutouts or bypass valves for exhaust systems. Those are illegal to install in your car. So it depends on what you're doing. I can't just because it's not made by the manufacturer doesn't make it illegal. Just because it wasn't shipped on your vehicle doesn't make it illegal. What you're doing to it, what it does to the vehicle, the result of which could be illegal. Yeah, so it depends. Okay. Here's one for Sergeant Campbell. What's the funniest thing you have seen on duty?
Oh. You know what? I got to tell you, this job, you see an awful lot of stuff. Good, bad, some of it completely hilarious. You know what? I would have to sit and think about that.
That's my problem too. That's why.
Yeah.
I never know how to answer that question because there's a million things and I might find them funny and some of them I can't talk about. But Sergeant Kulik, anything that comes to mind as PG and funny?
Nothing off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's been many things over the years. And like Sergeant Campbell said, this job gives you so much variety. You see pretty much everything that you could imagine. So, there's a lot of really funny stuff out there. There's a lot of sad stuff. There's a lot of happy things. So
yeah, it's a mix.
It's a mix of everything, right? And every day we do our stuff. But off the top of my head, I can't pick out one moment. I'd have to think about it.
I like to consider policing is to some degree a choose your own adventure book. If you remember those, I'm dating myself when I talk about those. I loved those as a kid. You can read the book 100 times, and based on how you skip to page 27. Well, that's sort of what our life is like. You come into work, you know when you're showing up, you don't know when you're going home, and you don't know what you're going to do while you're here. But generally speaking, it's all interesting. So if you're interested in policing, if this is because you were interested in becoming a police officer. Join as an auxiliary, join as a volunteer, join as a police officer, and it's a ticket to the best show on earth is what New York City Police uses as their advertising, and I think it's very accurate.
It's 100% true. It's absolutely 100% true. We get called to people that are having their worst day ever because we're expected to solve their problems. We get called to the unusual where nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
We are the catch-all of everything. We work 24/7. We're always there. We're always available. And for some of the stuff that people call the police for, we have the resources available, or we know where to get the resources to solve most problems, no matter what it is.
Retired Detective Murdoch says hi.
Retired Detective Murdoch.
Where did Detective Murdoch work? But hi back. Thanks for the hello.
I don't know if I know a retired Detective Murdoch.
It's amazing. The people who have, when I started the job 20 years ago to now, and for the years that you've been on, the number of people who have come in and retired and is happy and sad in careers beginning and ending, it's so many magical people. And some less magical, but majority very good. Very good. People stand out for different reasons. Let's see here. Okay, university student with no experience, want to work Toronto Police. Is that possible? You need to look at the specific requirements of the jobs you want to apply. There's new requirements, I understand, about education that have just come into play. Check out www.torontopolice.on.ca. There's certainly different jobs. You want to be a police officer, you've got to meet those requirements. Parking have different requirements. Clerk positions, civilian positions, they're all different. So check out the website. That'll be the best source of information. And that's, again, www.torontopolice.on.ca and /careers. But if you go to the main website and you click on, you'll find it. Do dogs need to wear seatbelts? No, they don't need to. There's no Highway Traffic Act offense for dog not wearing seatbelt. Plus, they don't have an income stream to pay for their tickets. But if you are driving with an animal, you should either crate them or use a harness for their safety and yours. In the event of a collision, a dog or animal will become a projectile within the vehicle, and even if they are not injured immediately upon impact, you might be unable to ensure that they are safe after an impact. A door might be taken off the car, they may run out, they may be scared and bite somebody, or at the end of the day, bad things could happen. Hey, we've got an invitation. We've got. Let me see here. So here's the deal. We've got the safe driver, and we're going to have him join our live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add host. So you go and go live on your channel, Scott, and then we'll bring you in as a host. So we'll split screen. So do that, and I'm going to go look for you. We're going to add host, and I'm assuming this will take a second before you go live. So hit live, and you'll have to leave our live for a second to do that. We're going to see if we can get Scott Marshall, the safe driver, into our live.
And Sean, is this going to be the first time that he's actually going to be?
He was. I think last night I saw him with 1,011 followers, and of course in Canada, TikTok requires you to have 1,000 followers in order to go live. So if you go live,
well, that's a big milestone for him.
It's a milestone, and we're excited. I don't see him yet. We're going to keep trying. So let me just respond. Let's see here. Add host. I don't see him yet. We can try it another way if it doesn't work. If it's not working for you, let me know. Send us a message and let me know if that's not working there, Scott. I'm gonna try refreshing. I don't see you yet. Okay. I don't want to leave people waiting. We'll try again in a second.
Passengers in the car not wearing seatbelts, who gets the ticket?
It depends on their age. Great question. If they are under the age of 16, the driver gets the ticket. They're responsible for ensuring that children are wearing their seatbelts or being properly put into their child restraint. If they are not, or if they're 16 or 17, they will get the ticket themselves. Actually, if they're over the age of 16, they're 16 and older. So, and adults as well, they'll get their own ticket. Okay, checking to see if Scott is. Hey, I see him. Let's invite him. We've invited him. Q&A will be temporarily disabled. Hey, I know you.
Yes, I know you. We have the same barber.
That's right. Well, I've got my hippie look going on right now. For anyone who does not know this man, my brother from another mother, the safe driver. He's a podcaster, a TikToker. He has a license plate. That looked backwards. You have to invert your camera. The 3 dots in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can flip your camera so we're not looking at you backwards. Then your safe driver, he has a what's it called? A license plate that says safe driver. And you disappeared. I think you flipped to the front-facing camera. Different button. Oh no.
There we go. Oh, I did.
It's the wrong one. It's another one. It says mirror your video. That's the one.
Got it.
Okay. So if you don't already follow the safe driver, you really should. Let's see, is that going to work? Hey, you can now read your license plate. So he pulled a Brandon. Brandon
I
did that
did.
one. He did that once. So Scott used to be a regular guest on our 1015 show, because we had a second show after our live where we talked about safe driving. Why is he relevant? Because he's not only a driving instructor, but he's a former host of Canada's Worst Driver. Not host,
Judge,
judge. I didn't mean to reduce your
I
rank.
take anything. Yeah, of course.
Now, Instagram and YouTube cannot see you; they can only hear you. But TikTokers, they can see you.
Okay. I have a radio anyway, so that's fine.
So what's going on? How was your Christmas? How was any big New Year's plans? Any big safety messages?
Yeah, I'm gonna get dressed up and go to the living room and maybe watch a movie. It's a stay in kind of night. There's a lot of cases and stuff, so just kind of chilling with family.
Right on.
It's been good. No snow to shovel. No treacherous roads to drive on. It's all been good.
How is the podcast going? You what episode are you on now?
I did a recap last week on the whole 2021 and looking back at the 12 months, and so we're on season 2, episode 17 is coming up this weekend.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Now,
I'm going to talk about that, but it's okay.
For those who don't know what the podcast is about, Scott covers all sorts of topics that are really relevant to your life as a driver. Whether it be, what are some of your favorites from 2021?
I do have a lot of pet peeves, and one of the things is how drivers behave, and that they're not the only drivers on the road. So a lot of it is just really about making you think as a driver, following distance, adjusting to the rules that we forget. And although a lot of people think that getting their driver's license and taking driver training just gets you that license, it's supposed to be a life skill. And that means they're lasting you a lifetime. And it's not just to get past the gate and get your license. So a lot of times it's about reminding people about why we should drive a certain way. What are the certain rules? I mean, you talk about the laws in Ontario and in Canada. I talk about driver behavior, driving techniques, things to make your life and your passenger's life safer. Hence the name Safe Driver.
Yes.
So following distance is a big one. Driver attitude, driver performance, things like that too.
I've got a great question for you. It's been coming up because we've been talking about speeding and the fact that speeding's not legal. And recently I put up a post about, following the flow of traffic. And from a policing perspective, following the flow of traffic is a great concept as long as the flow of traffic isn't doing 130 and exceeding the speed limit. You can't use a safety measure and then twist it to make it a reason to speed. But the question is, what if I'm driving and doing the legal speed limit and someone is tailgating me? What would you suggest that drivers do in that situation?
Depending on the road you're on, there's a couple things. First of all, if you can't really do anything other than stay in your lane, increase your following distance. The risk about tailgating is if you have to stop abruptly, they're not going to have enough time to stop. You have perception, you have reaction, you have stopping distance. So your brain has to recognize the brake lights, different factors, your tires, your tire inflation, your brake pads, your own reaction time, and not everybody has the same. So increasing your following distance. So if the driver in front brakes hard, you don't have to brake as hard, which means the driver behind doesn't have to brake as hard. So that's the first step. The second is if you can move onto the shoulder, put your hazards on early, move onto the shoulder, let them pass you, and then pull right back out again. Let them tailgate somebody else, not you.
That's great advice. Now, if you're on, that's great if you're on a 2-lane, one lane either direction, but if you're in a multi-lane road, if you have options, if you have someone tailgating you, move out of their way. Just because you don't have to speed because they want you to speed. Make the lane change into the right lane. Let them go by. Let them come speed up and get caught by us. That's ultimately making our lives easier.
I put a tweet out a while ago is don't blame the driver ahead of you that you left late. And that's often the case. They're in a hurry, but the driver in front's going as fast as the driver in front of them and the driver in front of them and so forth. So tailgating doesn't get you there any faster except for maybe 1 second faster. So if you have to move to the left to let someone tailgate pass you, go to the passing lane. Let them. They're not using the passing lane. you use the passing lane, get rid of the risk.
And passing lane, another great thing, it's a passing lane. It's not a speeding lane. It's not a fast lane. It's the lane that allows people to drive up into the speed limit to pass slower moving vehicles. So, that brings me to another thing. We talk about what's the slowest that you can travel. Some highways have minimum speeds that are listed, and they really don't want to. Let me back up. People think that driving the speed limit is driving too slow. So how much below the speed limit is really driving too slow?
You have a lot of different conditions. Right now in Southern Ontario, we don't have much snow. We don't have icy roads, things of that sort. So the speed limit is fine. But when you get some snow conditions, drive according to the conditions. We see the electronic boards above the expressways that tell us that. And the speed limit is set for ideal conditions. And when the conditions are not ideal, you need to adjust to it. And if going 50 on a 100 zone is your comfort zone, maybe it's time to get off that expressway, take a service road, go through the city, take a secondary highway, somewhere that's a little bit different but has a lower speed. So you're not the thorn where you're going excessively slow. Because as you know, and as a lot of your listeners know, that there is a demerit points in Ontario for unnecessary slow driving. And that would probably fall into the case if it was too slow.
So, because when I took my young driver's course many years ago, when I was 15 years old, I was so interested in driving, I did it before. I rode my bicycle to the classroom so I could get it out of the way. I wanted to be driving the day I turned 16. And I remember very clearly, if it was rain or snow, I should be reducing my speed for at least 10 kilometers an hour. And that's based on conditions. It might be slower than that. Certainly driving 50 in a 100 for no good reason isn't something that is acceptable. And if it's because you're scared or fearful of being in those speeds, you shouldn't be in that situation. Remove yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go beyond your ability to handle your vehicle. If your vehicle itself, you don't have winter tires, or your tread is thin, or whatever the case is, make sure your vehicle is prepared for your capabilities. And again, if it's not, go get it repaired, go get it adjusted, and drive on through city roads. Yeah, it might take you a little longer. And when conditions are that slow and it's going to take you longer, leave sooner. So that way you don't feel tempted to go faster than your capabilities or your vehicle's capabilities.
We always come back to this. And I like to say that that poor planning is the number one problem for most drivers. The reason that many of them speed, it's not because they're really excited to go fast. It's because they're late for where they're going, and they don't want to be late because there's consequences. So really, what mistake happened prior to leaving the house and getting on the road?
Yeah, road safety starts before you leave your home. It starts in your mind. The further you drive, the longer you should give yourself extra time. We're in the time of year where you should be checking the weather prior to leaving the home. If I have a long commute to my office, and so I check the weather every day to find out what it's going to be like. So whether or not I need to leave at 5 in the morning, or if it's okay to leave at 6 in the morning, that weather network lets me know, weather app.
Awesome. Because a lot of people hear you, but they can't see you. We're speaking to Scott Marshall, the safe driver. He is a podcaster, a blogger, a TikToker recently who just got over 1,000 followers. If you're not following him yet, you really should. He's got great content. Makes me laugh on a regular basis. Oh, wait, we cut you off there.
I have good content, and it's I didn't really. I posted just one in December.
That's terrible.
It's kind of like a big month, and just a lot of different things going on. But I will be posting more regularly, and with a touch of humor, of course.
Absolutely.
That's just
It's your way. And of course, a podcaster. You can get his podcast. It's Speed Bumps, a safe driving podcast. It's available anywhere podcasts can be downloaded. There are 15-minute episodes. You can listen to them while driving. No visual to get you in trouble. But follow him if you're not following him yet, because you should. And for anyone who's on Instagram or the other platforms, what is your safe driver on Twitter?
I'm Safe Driver on Twitter, The Safe Driver here on TikTok. My blog is thesafedriver.ca, because I'm from Canada, And what's my YouTube? I just started my YouTube. I think it's The Safe Driver.
Well, we'll search for it. We'll find it. I'm going to let you go so that we can get our Q&A section back. But it's been awesome having you on. We'll do this again for sure. And Happy New Year.
And you too. I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
And moderators, you guys do an awesome job. I just watch sometimes and listen. Amazing work. You have awesome moderators.
I'm a very lucky guy.
Isn't he a moderator too?
He is a
Is
moderator.
he giving himself a pat on the back too?
No, I barely do anything, Q. You know that. It's like sometimes I listen while I'm working, and then I hear if I have to answer a question. Sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know that answer, and then I'll type in the answer.
Awesome.
I'm just pulling your leg. Happy New Year, sir.
You too. You too. And we'll talk to you guys next year. And be safe, plan ahead, and check out the blog too.
Awesome. We will do that. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sean. Be safe.
You too. So that's awesome. The first time we've done that with him because he just hit the 1,000 mark, and I really wanted to get him on so he could be. You know, he was the first guest I ever interviewed online on a live stream. He's been with us since the beginning. He was the first guest. This is amazing. So far we have come since that first episode. In any case, thanks everyone for allowing me the opportunity to speak to my friend Scott. Now back to the Q&A because there's some questions that we've been ignoring for a little while, and I want to make sure we get them all. We've gone a little over time, but you know what? It's New Year's Eve, and we won't just cut you off since.
No, it's not. It's the morning of New Year's Eve.
It's the morning, but it's still. We had this discussion yesterday. Is it New Year's Eve day? Is it New Year's Eve? It's New Year's Eve. The whole day is New Year's Eve. It makes no sense to me. It's the last day of the year. That's what it is. Someone wants to know what are polygraph questions like? Well, for hiring, they're not used in Ontario. Ontario is the only province in Canada that doesn't use a polygraph that I'm aware of as a requirement for application. That may change one day, but at the moment, it's not in play. A friend of mine went to Alberta, and he showed me the pre-question. I think Lethbridge, Alberta. If you want to see polygraph questions to blow your mind, Google Lethbridge, Alberta Polygraph Police and peruse the 500 plus questions that you are likely to be asked. And be impressed, my friends. Be impressed. Okay. So that answers that question. Q, what do you want to talk about?
Someone in chat wants to know. I forgot what the question was.
What are the penalties for driving while under suspension?
Yeah. So what is it?
Penalties for driving while under suspension. Let's look it up because I don't want to give you not something that's out of date. There's been some updates, may or may not have affected that. Okay. Suspension. Why is suspension showing me race motor vehicle? Oh, because I'm too far down. Okay. Okay, that's the deal. Okay, here. So it's section 36, driving under license. No, that's a different one. Operate vehicle, driving while under criminal code suspension, driving while under suspension. Here we go. 53 sub 1. No set fine, so you don't get a number of, there's no dollar amount attributed to it. It's determined in court. You can be arrested for it. And it reads, and I will read it directly, every person who drives a motor vehicle or streetcar on a highway while his or her driver's license is suspended under an act of the legislature or a regulation made thereunder is guilty of an offense and on conviction is liable, A, for a first offense to a fine not less than $1,000 and not more than $5,000, then B, for each subsequent offense to a fine not less than $2,000 and not more than $5,000, or to an imprisonment for a term of not more than 6 months, or to both. So you can get a financial impact as well as a term in jail. That's the answer. That's the story. Okay. Are ride-alongs a real thing? Not during COVID, but yes, they were and will likely be again. If you apply to do one, you have to be background checked, and if that all goes well, you could be permitted to go for a ride along with a sergeant. It's not something it's not an opportunity. It's not just done because you show up and say, hey, I want to. Generally speaking, it's, you're a law enforcement student, you want to become a police officer, you're a journalist, you're something. It's not just, today I want to do this because I'm bored. And moderators, I want to take a moment to talk to you. Thank you so much. I know. We've talked. We've chatted. Some of us have spoken more than others. But at the end of the day, I really want to thank you for all of your contributions this year. Your efforts, your support of this channel have really made it possible. The lives we do wouldn't be the same without you. You bring a total next level experience to our viewers. You make it possible for us to have, not only safe environment in terms of behavior, because people can spam, can be rude. You keep it safe for everybody in the room, and I really want to acknowledge you and thank you for everything you've done in 2021, and look forward to your support next year, starting tomorrow, for everything going forward. I thank you so much. And not only are the moderators here, but we also have a community on. What's that thing called? Discord. Yeah, we chat all the time. And actually, I can't say I chat all the time because I've not been as active on Discord as I once was, and I hope to change that in the new year. That's one of my things that I want to do more of, is to have that offline interaction with the community of our viewers and be able to answer questions all the time. Now, I am almost all the time on TikTok and answering questions, but it's a totally different environment on Discord. So if you're interested in becoming or getting onto our Discord, we have links that are in my TikTok. I posted before, I'll post again, but you're welcome to join us there. Q, thank you to you as well. I know I've thanked the moderators, and you are a moderator, but thank you for everything that you do, and I appreciate your efforts too.
I think on behalf of the moderators, I could speak on behalf of them, hopefully, that we want to thank you for teaching us, actually on the daily, when we were still doing daily streams before we did our vacation time. Yeah. Yeah. That you've taught us a lot when it comes to like a lot of the moderators' driving behavior has changed. And we've learned a lot more little tips that we were misled to believe were true as kids. For example, I think I can talk about the lights being on in the interior cab of your car. That was apparently legal. Driving without shoes was also legal. But we Emma is dying in chat right now, but she wants to say thank you as well for having us here.
Well, thank you so much. And Emma's laughing at me is not a surprise. But the whole, there's so many things that I've learned too. Not just because of moderators, but because of the whole community. We've really got a community here, and we've got a community, and people are asking questions that I've never even thought of or haven't thought of recently. So thank you to everybody who has followed and participated. It's really been an amazing ride, and we can only go up. This year we hit 500,000. Never would have thought it would have happened, but we did. Next year, maybe 1 million. Who knows? But you know what? If you watch and you don't follow, you should follow. And if you have friends that could benefit from it, invite them. Tell them about us. We'd love to have them as part of the traffic services community. There you go. Let's pick. Is there a question in chat that's just dying to be? Did you find it, Steph?
I think. Oh,
You didn't find it? Oh, it's on top of the box. It's on top of the box. Sorry, I put car keys. I just realized where I put it as I said. That someone was looking for the car keys, and I put them somewhere and forgot where I put them.
I think that even though laws are different in different provinces or even states for that matter, driving behavior is very universal. So I think that even if you share it with your friends that aren't local in Toronto or Ontario, it would benefit greatly because they're your friends and they're people that you care about, right?
Well, we talk about more than just the law. We talk about concepts of safety. We talk about things that are beneficial everywhere. And I've had people write to me from New Zealand, from Ireland, from Britain, Australia, and they're like, yeah, our laws are different, but it's interesting to know the similarities, the differences. It's interesting to know what you guys do and how you do it. And they watch not because it affects their driving directly because of the law, but they're interested, and it's very cool. I love getting the feedback. If you feel like dropping a line on DM, feel free. I do answer messages. If you again, you can always join the Discord and be involved with all of us. But we're always here, and I'm always answering questions in the comments. You can also watch me, or at least subscribe to my personal TikTok and social media. I'm VoiceOver Cop. You can get me on Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok. But if you ever want to reach out, feel free. Happy to chat. Okay, let's see here. I just wanted to see if there's any questions here that need to be addressed before we call it, because it's after 10. It's amazing. This hour has gone by so quickly. Okay. Someone wants to know my thoughts on TRX. I have no idea what TRX is. Maybe I'm supposed to know. What's that?
It's a car.
Oh, on Ram TRX. Do we know what that is? I don't know what that is.
To pick up?
I don't know. Or maybe it's trucks. Is that trucks? No, it must be TRX. I'd have to Google. I don't know offhand because I have no thoughts on Ram TRX. What if I'm redlining my car the whole time? I'd expect an excessive noise ticket and damage to your engine. That doesn't sound very good. Can I drive my car without a windshield? No, you need a windshield. Now, oddly enough, you can put your windshield down on a Jeep because it's designed to be taken down. But I wouldn't suggest it. Okay. But on a car, I believe you have to have the windshield. Now I have to look it up. See, this is where I talk about I learn new things because I say something and then I question myself and I'm like, no, I want to look it up. Okay.
Something general to talk about because it's been brought up in chat. Someone wants to know if they can use their learner's permit from different places, different provinces, or different countries here in Canada or in Ontario.
Learner's permits are not licenses. They are learner's permits. So yes, you get a G1. Is it considered a license? No, it's not a license that's independent on your own. So when you have a learner's permit, it's only valid in the province that you live in. When you get your G2, however, it's good for anywhere. And that's the thing. Let's see here. Windshield. Looking here, improper windshield wiper. I don't see a charge for no.
There's improper windshield wiper?
Yeah. But I don't see no windshield. So I'm going to continue to look that up when I'm not staring into a camera. But we'll talk about it again, like next year. Okay. Okay. Don't know what that is. Exemptions for New Year's street parking. I have to. Okay. Let me hit the TPS. Let's see. There is a Toronto Police parking Twitter, and this is nice, and that's the wrong section of okay, here we go. Into the search fields we go. TPS parking, because they would have tweeted about it. TPS parking is a great source about, for getting relevant Toronto parking information. That's an old post. Happy Friday. What is this? No, this is not anything here. Update for, no, I don't see anything about parking allowances. There was one from Aaron in regards to holiday parking. I don't know if New Year's is. You know what? We'll find out. I'll tweet about it. Check out VoiceOver Cop. Check out Traffic Services. I'll post it there as soon as I confirm it, which will be right after we get off the live. I just don't want to stare at my phone while I'm being ignore you all. Let's see here. What laws differ between the USA and Canada? So many. The United States and Canada, although very similar, have very different laws in many areas. Now, the broad strokes of traffic safety are the same because obviously we can drive with a Canadian license in the United States and vice versa, but equipment things tend to be different. Criminal charges tend to be very different. What is only tomorrow, not tonight? Oh, tomorrow, Q. Thank you very much. So parking, Q looked it up and found it when I could not. And tomorrow, New Year's Day, has free parking allowances for the city of Toronto on, I assume, meters. Meters only, street parking, not parking lots. And today is still a regular day, so do not park expecting freebies. You will end up getting a ticket. Do not do that. Okay. Information someone wants to know about loud snowmobiles. I assume so. I don't do anything with snowmobiles. We're Toronto. I don't have any information. I'm not a sledder. I've never been on a sled. I'm a motorcycle guy. I've off-roaded before. Never have I ever ridden a sled, other than one going down like a toboggan, but nothing with an engine in it. It's cold outside. Okay. Questions. Scrolling. Am I a Leafs fan? I'm not a sports fan. I'm not anti-Leafs, but I'm not a Leafs fan. Like I don't have anything that says Toronto Maple Leafs on it. Maybe I have an eraser that someone gifted me or maybe my kids. I don't know. No, I don't have anything that says Toronto Maple Leafs on it that I'm aware of. Can an off-duty cop charge stunt driving? Can they be charged for stunt driving, or can they charge someone else for stunt driving? So an off-duty cop is never really off-duty. We're police officers 24/7, and we can certainly give evidence in relation to a charge. We can call for backup. We can call for an officer who's on duty to come. Technically, there's nothing to stop us from doing it directly, other than whether the officer's policies and procedures from their particular service. Is it safe to do it? Whatever. But they do have the legal authority to do it.
Speaking about duty,
I'm sorry?
Speaking about duty, does a traffic cop have the same authority as a normal cop?
A traffic cop is a cop. who has a specialty in traffic. So absolutely, a police officer who is a traffic officer is still a full-fledged police officer. And like I said, just has the additional specialty of being a traffic officer. So yeah, they have all the authorities were all the same. Will there be a co-op high school program for grade 12 this year or next year? I don't know. Unfortunately, the pandemic has created some unique situations where things we would have done in the past or would like to do may not be possible. But certainly check, make the inquiries when it comes time to, trying to get into a program, and hopefully things will be better and it'll be possible. But try. I wish I had an answer. Check with our employment unit. That would be the best source. Okay. Why ticket vehicles during Toronto Cafe? Don't know what we're talking about. Is that parking or what are we? I'm not sure.
Why do you have to use a turn signal in a turn-only lane?
Because you're turning, and it doesn't say. So the law about turning says you have to use your signal whenever you may affect the motion or movement of another vehicle. So if you're turning, even in a turn lane, the oncoming traffic needs to know where you are. Everybody else needs to know what you're doing. So you need to do that. It's a rule. But I appreciate that it's not for the people behind you in the turn lane that you're telling, it's the oncoming and other traffic elsewhere. Anything about digital safety inspections? Don't know what that is. I don't think we ever came up with an answer for the lumens limit, so we'll have to look into that later. Can a G2 drive her kids between 12 and 5 for emergencies? Okay, G2 drivers have restrictions in the first year and to a certain age between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m., but that does not include family. There's an exemption for family. So absolutely, if you have children, you can drive any time of the day or night with them in the car. Your family, children, exempt. So hopefully Kat Lennon is still with us and got that answer. Okay. Okay, I think just because there's tons of stuff here, and there's some spam in there why I'm scrolling through things and ignoring them because we've addressed them or they're just duplicates. Can a G1 driver be a designated driver for New Year's? Fantastic question that we'll end on. No, you cannot. You can't. So a G1 driver has to be supervised by a full G with 4 years experience, and the G has to have a BAC under 0.05. 0.05 is the legal limit for driving. So 0.05 would result in a suspension, a 3-day suspension, a Warren range suspension, and that would invalidate them as a supervising driver. If they're too drunk to drive, they are too drunk to supervise. So fantastic question. For anyone who is going to be out celebrating, have a safe and happy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and it's been a blast for 2021. If you're going to drive sober. If you're that's no drugs, no alcohol. There are so many opportunities and solutions other than getting behind the wheel of the car and putting yourself and others at risk. So I want you to get to where you're going safe. I want you to see your loved ones and people who think your jokes are funny. I don't want you to ruin anybody else's life in the process. So please, for me, for all of us, please do the right thing and don't drive impaired.
Yeah, we want to hear from all 522,000 of you guys in the new year and your friends and family.
Yes. And like I said, we bring more people to the party. I know what's happening. When people don't share the channel, it's because they want to be the most fun at parties. They want to know all the answers and not share. They don't want to let people know that their sources other than their experience and personal research. Mind you, this does count as personal research.
Does it?
Why not?
Can I put it on my resume?
I think so. I certainly think it would be a cause or a source of conversation if you put listener or follower of traffic services. Couldn't hurt, right? It's tough to articulate why you put it. Because you're a regular subscriber. You get news and information from the source. Anyway, all kidding aside, have a wonderful, wonderful Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Next year, we'll be back on Tuesday. No live on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday, I think.
You think? You don't know?
It's a long weekend, right? It's a 4-day week. Monday's a holiday, so yeah, it's a long weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay, I'll be back on Tuesday.
Okay, thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful one. I said it. I'm not getting into this loop. Every time we start saying goodbye, and then we start saying hello again. All right, I'm cutting it. I'm saying goodbye. Take care.
Happy New Year. Bye.
And we are still here, and I've totally ignored. We're still live everywhere else. So let me just scroll through here. After saying hi to Sean Chen like an hour ago, oh, that's a horrible sound. Why is it doing things and making noise? Okay. Okay, James Fleming was saying about how people can go online to apply. Kayla Draconis says, just checking in. Happy and safe New Year to all. Frank Simpson says, drag radials are legal for the street. Well, if they're legal for the street, they're legal for the street. But if they're drag slicks, they would not be. That's what I was getting at before. Big Jeff Fresh with a very good piece of advice. He says, I got to plan my list of funny stories for future questions about funny stories. James Fleming, Happy New Year to you, Sean, and all TPS members. Same to you, brother. James and I used to work together at Old City Hall. Okay, let's see here. Cool. While driving, is it illegal to have a dog on your lap while driving? We covered that. I think you may have asked that question on the other side. And Big Jeff makes a very good point about driving without a windshield. Bugs and teeth is not cool. Anyway, Happy New Year again, everybody. Take care. We will see you next year.
Bye.